lot of times what happens is the transaction that happens, the seller claims that he's selling at the cost price. That means the selling price becomes the cost price, right? If you honestly see, if honestly somebody sells at the cost price, the profit would be zero, right? There won't be any profit that they will make, right? So usually this never happens in a question that you get. It would never happen that they will not make any profit. Then where's the transaction? Why is the transaction? Where's the business then, right? So the profit will definitely happen. So in this case, what happens is the profit happens by volume. What does that mean is, let's say a classic example could be using a faulty weight. What do we mean by that? Faulty weight. That when it comes to buying, it's we're talking about the seller here, right? So when it comes to buying, the seller will buy, let's say 1 kg on the same price, which is on the cost price. When it comes to selling, he will use probably 900 grams, for example, 900 grams on SP. Now, even if CP is equal to SP, the weights are not the same, right? So here, if you see what was the profit, the profit was on 100 grams of on the cost price of 100 grams. So what he did is he bought at 1 kg and he sold only 900 grams. So the transaction was, first thing you have to understand, the transaction is only 900 grams. I'm not talking about this. This is the seller buying. So this will only tell me the value of cost price. From here, only what I'll get is the cost price, right? But the transaction is here. This is important. You have to understand this. This transaction is here. So whenever we apply the formulas, the transaction is happening here because 900 grams is being sold. So this is my transaction. This is not the transaction. Again, students get confused a lot of times in this also. This is not the transaction. The first one is not the transaction. The transaction is here. So whatever you do, apply all your formulas here. The transaction is happening here. Now, because CP was equal to SP, monetary terms, it did not, earn anything. Why? Because let's say he gave some money and bought 1 kg of the commodity. He gave 900 grams, got the same money back. So terms in money, I don't have any profit or loss. But I have been left with 100 grams of the commodity. So I made the profit in terms of volume. That 100 grams of volume is left with me in this transaction. That is my profit, right? And why did I say it is on transaction? What do you understand from here? Is if I try to calculate my profit percent here, what is the profit percent? My profit is in terms of volume, so 100 grams is the volume upon. So when I apply the formula here, what is the profit percent? Profit percent would be equal to the profit volume upon the transaction volume into 100. So if you see here, the profit percent would be 100 upon the transaction value. A lot of times you put 1 kg, that's wrong. My profit percent here is 900. Profit volume is transaction volume is 900 grams because the transaction was only of 900 grams. When he's selling 900 grams, he's earning 100 grams of profit. So my profit percent would be this, which is 100 by 900, which is 11.11%. It is not 100 upon 1 kg, which is 10%. It is not 10%. Profit volume upon transaction volume. The transaction here is 900 grams. The transaction is not 1 kg. Correct? So this is how you calculate profit here. Profit volume upon transaction volume into 100. Right? Probably rewind it and watch it again. We'll do some questions. Let's go to the worksheet. Right. Let's take up the next question. So what do we have? A shopkeeper claims to sell goods at cost price, but uses a false weight while selling and makes 11.11% profit. One fine day, a customer gave in 20 notes of the same denominations for his purchase, but later the shopkeeper realized that one of the notes was fake. Find the actual profit percentage made by the shopkeeper. This is a good question. I will suggest you pause here and think about it. Try to solve it. There's one tip here that we have. Whenever everything is given in percentages or fractions, there's no exact, definite value given. You can always assume values, right? So that's a good approach. So here what I'll assume is, assume every note is 100 rupees, right? You can assume 100, you can assume 10,000, doesn't matter. The answer will always come the same because they've asked you the percentage. So assume every note is 100 rupees. So what happened is the selling price for the commodity was 100 into 20 notes, which is 2000 rupees. The profit percent he is making is 11.11%. So what comes next is calculating the cost price. What is the formula? SP, again the same formula, 1 plus profit percent, which is 11.11% by 100. When you solve it, the value you will get is 1800 rupees. So the cost price is 1800, selling price is 2000 rupees, and it's going on fine. And this is happening in terms of volume, right? But because the profit is given, selling price, we're taking it in terms of selling price, so we have calculated the cost price also in terms of rupees. Now what happened is one day he realized that one of the notes was fake. Now if one of the notes is fake, what happened is that day, what is the selling price he actually got, the new selling price? Only 19 notes were good, right? So 19 into 100, that means that day he made only 1900 rupees, right? CP is the same, CP is still 1800. So what is the profit that day? Profit percent SP minus CP upon CP into 100. That will give you 100 by 18%. That would be roughly 5.55%. So that day the profit was 5.55%.